Hello and welcome back to Courtside. I'm Andrew Cohen, joined alongside by Sam Posman. Mike Randall, how you guys doing today?
Doing well.
I too am doing well.
That's great. Big NFL trade deadline this week.
Usually not really that exciting.
No, I think it was the most trades ever made on deadline day. That's what people were saying.
NFL did its best NBA impersonation. This is what you come to expect in February.
Yeah. Really is. A lot of big trades. I thought the biggest was the Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins trade. Why don't we get right into it? So he goes to the Dolphins along with like a fifth-round pick for the Dolphins' first-round pick this year, 2023 first. Maybe that might be the Niners' pick, but 2023 first, 2024 fourth-round pick. They're planning to sign to an extension. What are you guys' opening thoughts on that?
I thought it was a great move for Miami. I'm a little up and down on Chubb. He started his career out really hot in Denver when Von Miller was opposite of him, and then when Von Miller left, I think the production dropped off a little bit. But talent-wise, he's a borderline top, true top-flight edge rusher. He could certainly be that, hopefully more consistently for them. He's young. They're going to have to pay him, but they're not paying their quarterback right now. So this is what you do when you're not paying a quarterback, right? You add a Tyreek Hill, you add a Bradley Chubb, and you can afford to pay them. So bottom line, the Dolphins see themselves as contenders. If you're contenders in the AFC, you're going to have to beat one of or both of Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. So you got to be able to get pressure without blitzing. And this is how you do it. This was the best edge rusher out on the market, maybe besides Robert Quinn. But in terms of long-term value, absolutely the best you could do, with Brian Burns apparently having some ridiculous price tag attached to him. So I thought it was a good move for Miami.
What are your thoughts, Sam?
I mean, as long as they help my guy Tua out in terms of winning football games, I'm a happy camper. But no, it shows that they're actually they have trust in this roster to win, right? Like, you don't make this move if you think, okay, like, we might have to take a step back and reevaluate some stuff in, like, even 2 years' time. This is definitely a win-now move, and it's exciting to see another team actually think they're in that window.
Yeah, no, it's a good move for a team that wants to be in the championship conversation. I look at it from the Denver perspective, and I thought that was interesting because if you said that they were going to trade Bradley Chubb at the deadline 2 months ago, man, they're like
you would have thought that Russ retired in week 3.
Yeah, they're just in such a bad spot now, and I guess that their thinking is that they weren't going to pay him, and if they're not going to pay him, getting a first-round pick back, getting another running back with Javonte Williams out for the year and Chase Edmonds is nice. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like it's one of those moves where it's like Denver should be in the playoff conversation. They're not. And that's disappointing. # year for us. It's disappointing.
This is the type of move that teams who have recently signed a quarterback to a $250 million contract make because they can't afford to pay anybody else. Bradley Chubb is probably going to at least come out and negotiate for something around triple digits, right? Probably going to try to land around a $100 million contract depending on the years. You can't afford that. To be honest with you, if you're Denver, having just signed Russ to, what was it, 260, 250, 260?
Yeah, something like that.
Something crazy. So to get the return on that investment that you've gotten and then have it now start to affect your roster elsewhere, because Jerry Jeudy's going to come up here at some point. Forgive me, I don't think Courtland Sutton's been paid. He may have been.
I'll check.
That one's tricky. He's kind of one of those, like, in between, is he young, is he not, guys. But Javonte Williams at some point.
I think he did sign an extension.
He did sign? Okay, so he's signed. But there you go. You have Russell Wilson and Courtland Sutton signed, and now you have to start chopping away your roster elsewhere. Patrick Surtain, when he comes up, these are guys that are going to come up during Russ's contract, and Denver's going to have a hard time dealing out big-time deals. The Surtain deal is going to be massive. I think Jalen Ramsey got, 95?
Yeah.
He'll beat that.
Right.
Because he'll be a top 3 corner in the league in his prime, up for a deal. So with him, with Jeudy, we'll see what happens with Javonte with the health. But this is the type of stuff that happens for a team when a quarter of your cap goes to one player, and that player is then expected to be able to pick up the slack in the way Mahomes has in Kansas City. They had to make a similar move in the offseason because his contract kicked in, and there's been no drop-off there, and there's been I don't even know how to go about talking about what's happened in Denver so far. So it's a tough move for the Broncos. Getting a first out of it definitely lessens the blow to an extent, but before the year, we would be thinking they'd be trying to trade for a Bradley Chubb, not
Yeah.
trading a Bradley Chubb at the deadline.
Right.
So,
And I don't know how good he's been this year for his standards, and so maybe that's part of going into it is he's not having a great year. We're not really going to be able to afford to pay him, and if we can get a first-round pick in return, we'll take it. But as you said, I mean, it's a disaster, you could argue, in Denver. You could argue that.
I think he's come on strong. He started slow in the last couple games.
Yeah.
I've been watching him because they keep throwing him up on primetime, so we don't have a choice. The last few games, he started to look more like the Bradley Chubb that stepped out of NC State. So for Miami, it's huge. It's huge. Because it's going to improve everyone else on the defensive line with him, because now the attention is demanded by this player. Jalen Phillips, who they snatched out of Miami in the draft, is really coming on strong. All of a sudden, he's getting one-on-ones every snap because you have to respect Bradley Chubb on the other side. It's a very similar scenario to what Chubb stepped into in Denver when Von Miller was at his peak, and all the attention's going to Von, and Chubb's just dealing with single teams, and he's cooking people. So, great move from Miami. Denver, I think, got what they could.
Yeah. All right. The other biggest trade, I think, was the McCaffrey to San Fran trade.
I love this one.
The Niners gave up their second, third, and fourth round picks this year and a fifth rounder next year for McCaffrey, who best pass catching back in the league, one of the most electric guys at running back. However, he is a little injury prone as of late, and that is the Niners just every year with their running backs. They run through 4 or 5 of them. Me personally, I think this was an overpay from San Francisco.
I did too. I didn't like it.
I get that, but now they've got 2 of the biggest X factor offensive skill set players that aren't quarterbacks in the league in the same backfield, and that's terrifying. And they're the definition of a win now team. They have a quarterback that can only win games. He can't really do anything else.
Just win, baby.
He can't really do
Just
anything
win,
else,
baby.
but he can win you football games.
Figures out how to win games.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very good step direction for San Francisco. The thing for Carolina about this that I love is that franchise is just question marks from ownership down. And to have the wherewithal to be like, we're not going to waste Christian McCaffrey's NFL career. We're going to ship him out somewhere else. I'm very impressed. Shows self-awareness, and I like it. And they got a great package. That didn't hurt.
They did.
Yeah.
So I thought it was an overpay. If you're assessing value and trading for a veteran running back with a lengthy injury history, he's already hit that. I think he's hit that 400 touch meter at some point in his career. If not, he's gotten close, and that's usually the death knell for running backs. After 400 touch seasons, there's usually a pile of injuries and a significant significant decline. Forgive me. So value-wise, I didn't love it. What I will say is we are not in the San Francisco room. And the only way this makes sense, and the reason why I think they made it, is they're basically saying, we know what we have in Jimmy G. It's established we do not trust Jimmy G without extensive weaponry around him. This is now the best collection of weapons in the NFL if they're healthy.
Yeah.
You have a top 3 tight end. You have Deebo Samuel. You have Brandon Ayuk who's having a monster season. And now you bring in Christian McCaffrey, right? So they're literally loaded at every single position on offense. The offensive line is stellar with Williams at left tackle. So they're they're saying, we know we don't trust Jimmy G. We have him for this year. Even with him, we're still a win-now team. And we now don't know what we're getting out of Trey Lance going forward. In that he's hurt this year. He didn't look great in camp. He didn't look great in the very limited time he was on the field. And no one knows what he's going to look like coming off a catastrophic ankle injury next season. So they're basically saying quarterback, like it or not for us, is a massive question mark going forward. So how do we surround whoever is behind center with the best possible arsenal of weapons that we can? If that's the mindset and they are rightfully a win-now team, you do overpay. It's okay to say it's an overpay and still not be a terrible trade for the team. I didn't love it, especially when I first saw it. I've warmed up to it a little bit now, seeing how he fit in, combining with Shanahan's schemes. But if you're a win-now team, you don't trust your quarterback, you're out of assets to go get a new quarterback because they spent them all in trying to upgrade that position. This is the type of move you make. And you're just saying, well, we're just going to give you so much around you that literally the only thing you can't do is throw the ball directly to the other team. Now, unfortunately for them, their season will end with their quarterback throwing it to the other team, which is why they won't win the Super Bowl, because they have Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's the year of Jimmy.
But they'll probably get damn close because they now have this assortment of weaponry around him.
He's so handsome, he's due up.
I mean, the thing I'll say is the NFC is a weak conference this year, right? Outside of like Philly, I guess
They could easily get to the Super Bowl.
easily get to the Super Bowl.
They're probably the best roster in the conference.
Yeah.
But the counterpoint would be, but they're 4-4 now. This really hamstrings you down the road. You don't have any draft board at all.
You don't
this
have
year.
a draft class now coming in next year at all.
McCaffrey's out in the books for a few years, so you're going to have to pay him, and you have other guys to pay as well. So that's something to keep in mind. In general, I'm kind of like any running back can play running back for any team. It's not a super valuable position, with the exception of the extremely high-level pass catchers, which McCaffrey is.
Exactly.
But it still feels like giving up almost your entire draft board for a running back is still always going to be, for me, a little questionable. So
it's especially questionable when you look elsewhere at teams that have made moves like this and won. The Rams have given up an incredible amount of early draft capital.
Yeah.
But the reason that team has been able to maintain a high level of success outside of this year, there's clearly been a drop.
Right.
Is they draft well late. The Chiefs draft well late. The freaking Seahawks, man, are on the board as a potential playoff team because their entire draft class is good. They have 2 rookie tackles who are studs. Their rookie running back's probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And they have a rookie corner who's 6'4", runs a 4.2, and is maybe one of the 5 best corners in the league this season. So for San Francisco, if they want to sustain the level of success they've had, replenishing the cabinet with good finds in the middle rounds is how you do it. Mm-hmm. And so I'd almost have rather them given up 1 first-round pick for McCaffrey. They didn't have it to give away, but had they have it, rather them give up 1 pick early and leave them the 3 or 4 options they ended up forfeiting. Because, like you said, now they literally don't have a draft class next year. Their first, I believe, is gone, and now it's like 2, 3, and 4 are gone. So we'll see how that maintains. It's catching up to the Rams, man. They're thin.
Yep.
49ers are loaded, a little thin. These guys get hurt. McCaffrey gets hurt. They just traded Jeff Wilson. That was very questionable to me.
Yeah, for what,
I didn't
round
get that.
pick? Yeah,
For a 5th round pick, when you bring in a guy who gets injured. He hasn't been healthy in 3 seasons.
Exactly.
Elijah Mitchell's still on IR.
Yeah, why is Jeff Wilson playing?
Because when is he coming back?
Should be soon, but
it should be towards the end, like middle part of the season. But I haven't heard a whisper that he's even like on the mend. So he might as well be out for the season at this point. We just don't know. So to trade your insurance policy, and Jeff Wilson's a good back.
Yeah,
and he's a good backup back. Like
he's
a perfect.
He always
backup
starts
back.
the year as their 3rd running back, and then he ends up starting. And he ends up playing great every year. Yeah. That's the thing about San Francisco too, where it's like every year they roll through running back after running back, and whoever they throw out there's always good in their system.
Yeah. So to have someone that's already at that level to throw in a system where you naturally thrive, I think it will be very dangerous.
Oh, there's no question the fit is as good as it's probably the best fit in football for an elite running back.
Yeah.
And you put in the most versatile running back in the league into that position.
Yeah.
The other element of this that I think is beneficial for San Francisco is you don't have to use Debo in that role now.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, if you want to in the playoffs a little bit, by all means, but he can strictly play wide receiver. You're going to get all the receiving versatility production out of the backfield you had by moving him in and out there. That might keep him a little happier too, keep him a little healthier. He's, I think, more important to the team than McCaffrey will.
I would agree.
Down the line. So protecting that investment as kind of a side bonus here is helpful. So I didn't love the value, but I understand the move, and I don't think it's a bad one at all, especially for a team trying to win this year.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to another trade. Let's go TJ Hockenson. Little in-division trade between the Lions and Vikings. So he's going to Minnesota. Minnesota gave up, a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick or something like that. I thought this was an interesting trade because now I guess the Lions' perspective is they're just not going to trade him, and the Vikings are not going to sign him to a big extension at some point, and the Vikings are a good team, but I don't know, because the whole thing with the Lions is like, oh, they're a QB away, right? They're going to look for a QB in this draft, in the next one, and so you'd think maybe you want to consider having a nice tight end target for him.
I don't think anyone's saying the Lions are a QB away.
No, but they're going to be looking for a QB.
Okay, that's fair.
Right.
What seems to be the best method for rebuilding is you either find the quarterback early, you get lucky that you happen to rebuild in a year where there's a great prospect. Grab him, potentially Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and then you build the team around him. The other way to do it, and the way it looked like Detroit was doing it up until now you can question a little bit,
Right.
is you just draft the best player available, you build a roster around what is basically an empty slot at quarterback, and you stick in a Jared Goff, a Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Just a player who can hold the fort down. He's not going to be an absolute disaster, but was that a little disrespectful to Jimmy Garoppolo?
It was a little disrespectful.
Right. But a Jared Goff is the perfect example of this. And you let him kind of hold the fort down. You'll still not be very good. You'll let the young guys develop. And then when you finally get the opportunity to draft a quarterback a la Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud this season, they're coming into a much better situation than they otherwise would be. So it looked to be like Detroit was doing a great job of that. They have 2 really good running backs. They have what looked to be a top 5 tight end, T.J. Hockenson this season. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams will be coming back off injury. That's it. And Penny Sewell is protecting the blind side.
Yeah.
In terms of a young offensive core, that's about as good as you can do in a short time frame to drop a quarterback into that. Now they trade TJ. And Andrew, I think the money thing's it's got to be the money thing. I think a little bit combined with just stocking up the draft cabinet to move up and try to get the guy they want potentially this year. But trading a Pro Bowl player in division is a pretty desperate move, especially a young one. So they were clearly trying to unload him, and that was the best option, which the lack of patience there is a little bit surprising.
That's what I want to talk about. I'm a little worried that it's knee-jerky for them. Like, they might have thought that they weren't making the progress they expected the roster to make this year, and flipped the switch quickly. But like, if you look at their games, they have the hardest strength of schedule in the league up to date, and we're in week 8 already. They've kept it close. They lost by 3 to Philly, 4 to Seattle. Like, these are really close games against very good teams. Now, yeah, they got embarrassed to the Patriots, and I think the loss before that was ugly too. But like, I worry it was a little ownership coming down or GM coming down saying we gotta like make a move here, whereas coaches were more like we should kind of stick with it, just let it play out, because they looked like a really good team at the start of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
It looked like a fun team.
it looks like a fun team.
Fair, a league pass team.
The defense is
Yeah,
a couple years away.
I mean maybe
Deshaun Elliott will get
A couple years away from being like an NFL defense.
NFL defense.
from being Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama's not that good this year.
I mean, maybe part of it too is they just don't think Hawkinson's all that good, like worth the big money extension. Maybe that's part of it too.
Yeah,
Like, I think he's been fine, but they did draft him in the first round. Draft him top 10.
yeah, I think he was 8th.
Yeah, so
he was really high. He was really high pick.
maybe they're just expecting more out of him, and that's not to say he's a bad player. It's just saying, we're not going to pay him $15 million a year or anything like that once he hits free agency. So maybe that's part of it too. But the interdivision thing is interesting also. I thought it was a good move for the Vikings.
I did too.
Irv Smith is out.
Oh, phenomenal move for the
They're
Vikings.
a good team. They should win that division. I mean, they're kind of flying under the radar this year.
They are
A lot.
big time.
I
Their
mean,
one loss is to the undefeated Philly on Monday Night Football, like week 2.
Yeah.
Real early. That's their one loss. I think they're 6-1.
Yeah.
Talk about a stacked cupboard on offense now, right?
Yeah.
You have Dalvin Cook. You have Jefferson. You have Adam Thielen.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins has played well this year,
Yeah.
despite what we may think of Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins teams just aren't sexy and no one cares about it.
They get that 1 p.m. playoff game on Wild Card Weekend. Look out!
Whoa there.
Look out!
If I'm Minnesota, if I'm running the show in Minnesota and I look at the NFC landscape, the 2 teams who probably have a better roster than me, the only 2 teams that you can really definitively say have a better roster, have 2 quarterbacks that if I'm the Vikings, I feel fine putting my guy up against them.
Yeah.
Do I think Jalen Hurts is a little bit better than Kirk Cousins? Yeah, but if I'm the Vikings, you're not seeing Tom Brady across the way.
Yeah.
You're seeing Jimmy Garoppolo and Jalen Hurts, right? So if I'm the Vikings, I'm thinking I can push this thing to the Super Bowl. Now, we're going to have, us sitting here would have our doubts about that.
Yeah.
But from their perspective,
oh, absolutely.
this is a win-now team, and you're telling me you could toss in a young Pro Bowl tight end into the mix to replace a guy who just fell out with injury for a potential run down the stretch here for a second-round pick?
Yeah.
You're telling me you're drafting T.J. Hockenson in the second round this year. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Steal the draft, right? Like, that's how
Tight ends
that's how I
last
to
long
look at
anyway.
it.
It's not like
Yeah, he'll be a good player for them for a long time. If Irv Smith returns and is healthy, that's a good two-man unit right there at tight end. So I think it's a great move for the Vikings. Kirk isn't that expensive as far as quarterbacks go.
No.
Everyone overreacted.
It's just all guaranteed.
It's all guaranteed,
Yeah.
but everyone overreacted to the number when it first came out. But he's getting paid $30-ish million a year. In today's market, that's not that much.
Yeah.
They can probably afford to extend Hockenson, right? So I think it was a great.
Yeah.
A lot of these feel pretty one-sided.
Yeah. They just have to hope they don't
Like,
run
a lot of
into Danny
sellers, a lot of
Dimes.
buyers. Not a lot of mid-table teams. Sorry, let me rephrase that. There's a lot of mid-table teams that won't acknowledge they're mid-table teams. They think they're sellers or buyers, but really they're in the middle.
And that's good that they picked a direction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You mentioned the quarterbacks, then, though. They better not run into Danny Dimes in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Danny
saying.
Dimes is an athletic Kirk Cousins.
I like that.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it seems to be what he is this year with, like, a functional coach.
He doesn't fall down when
on
he's
the
running
sidelines.
anymore.
I do think
That clip is the funniest thing
I've
I've ever
said some pretty mean things about Daniel Jones as a Giants
seen.
fan.
And who defended him?
Did you defend him?
I defended
Well
Danny
done, Sam.
Dimes.
We do need to acknowledge that he may have been in one of the worst offensive situations that the NFL has seen in the last, like this century.
Yeah.
Like, what they made him play with last year in terms of personnel and coaching is atrocious. And the difference this year with just, like, a functional, smart coach, they had more talent on the field last year. Everyone's hurt for the Giants right now, except for Saquon. Like, everybody's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And they look
traded.
night and day better than they did last year with that absolute clown show of a coaching staff. So, yeah, I'm good with athletic Kirk Cousins ceiling.
Speaking of a team who's moved on from a clown show of a coaching staff, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Brought in Doug Peterson. Now they've traded for Calvin Ridley in a very, very interesting move.
They give up a second.
They gave up a conditional second-round pick and a conditional fifth-round pick.
Second-round pick.
And the second-round pick is like next year.
Okay.
I love this trade for them.
I did too. This was one of my favorites of the day.
Because the price tag for Ridley in the offseason would have gone way up. Because teams are now like, okay, we're building for next year. We want a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a guy who's really good, and he's on the outs in Atlanta. They got ahead of it. And they're probably one of I can't imagine there were a ton of bidders for him right now at the moment.
Yeah.
And with that, they're able to get it for a little bit less of a price. I thought it was a great move, especially because Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, with all due respect, they're not number one receivers.
But
Calvin
they're a
Ridley.
good 2 and a 3.
They're a good 2 and a 3,
Great.
and Calvin
Good 2 and a
Ridley,
3.
No,
he could be the one.
I don't like you summed that up well. I don't have anything to add. It's just a good move.
I think the other
good
thing,
move.
the other aspect of this year is that they were clearly expecting. We were all clearly expecting more out of Trevor Lawrence than they've got this year.
Yeah.
So I think they got to the deadline like, oh boy, we improved. We still need to get this boy some help if he's going to turn into the prince that was promised down the road. But again, like you're telling me next year they draft Calvin Ridley, drop him into an offense with Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be 85, 90 balls for 1,200 yards with him consistently, gives him a top option. That was an awesome move. And he's not that expensive.
No.
Good
It's
team
$11
building.
million. Like, I get why the Falcons want to move on. I don't think it was a terrible deal for Atlanta either.
Yeah.
But in terms of team building wise, it's not bad.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of another good move, Roquan Smith to the Ravens. What did the Ravens give up here? Second-round pick and a fifth-round pick, I think?
Yeah, a lot of seconds and a lot of deals centering around a second and a mid-rounder, but I think that's what went for Roquan too. I understood this from both perspectives.
Yeah.
Like the Ravens clearly see themselves as Super Bowl champions. The defense has underperformed a little bit this year. You get like a top 3 linebacker in his prime to toss into the mix. You're gonna have to pay him. That might get a little dicey because you haven't paid your quarterback yet, and his stock keeps going up. But
Yeah, he's been good, hasn't he?
in terms of this season, and I think going forward, I think they're smart enough to figure it out. It was a great move for them. And then I don't love it for Chicago, but they weren't going to get the contract situation with him resolved,
No.
so you might as well cut bait and get what you can.
Yep.
And teams at this point in time, despite how great Roquan is, are not going to give up a first-round pick for a middle linebacker. It's not seen as an impactful enough position, I think, to give up that type of draft capital. So get a second-round pick, mid-round pick. Now, we'll get to this. If you combine it with what they ended up doing with that second-round pick, it becomes a little uglier for Chicago, I think, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing for Chicago is they're starting to stack up draft picks. They're starting to go through the whole like second part of a rebuild, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
the other thing, too, like, is Roquan Smith a $20 million a year linebacker? Because that's what the Ravens are going to have to pay him, probably.
I know. I don't think there are $20 million. I think there are linebackers who are worth that in terms of how good they are.
Right.
But I don't think as a team builder, I don't think we're in an era where you can pay linebackers $20 million anymore, especially when you have to start paying receivers 30, quarterbacks 40, right? Like, I don't think it's a valuable enough position anymore to dole out that type of money.
Yeah. Well, luckily for the Ravens, they don't have any receivers and they don't want to pay their quarterback. They will have $20 million
That
to
is
spend
true.
on Roquan Smith.
They can spend it on an in-the-box linebacker all they want.
Yeah. I thought it's a good it's a good win now trade at the very least for the
Exactly.
Ravens, and we'll see what happens in the offseason. But
Can we give a shout-out to Roquan Smith and Fred Warner, though, for
Yeah.
being absolute dogs that no one talks about?
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to really see a middle linebacker pop when you watch football games. And they've taken the reins from the Kuechly and Bobby Wagner era into their own,
I
and
like
they are disgusting.
I miss Luke Kuechly.
Fred Warner is so good. Your boy Acho had a breakdown on him on Twitter the other day. Look up Emmanuel Acho, Fred Warner tape breakdown if you're interested. It's so cool, dude. He's so good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Bears, they traded away a second-round pick.
Is it the same one?
I don't know if it's the same one,
Doesn't
but
really
I don't know. It must, because it has to be their own, because they traded it for Chase Claypool, and the story was the Steelers were choosing between a deal from the Packers and the Bears. Both teams offered a second-round pick. And they chose the Bears because they thought the Bears would have a worse record at the end of the year. Unfortunately for them, the Bears are going to finish with a higher record than the Green Bay Packers. It's just what's happening.
I think it's because the Bears will just like weirdly pull wins out of their asses, whereas the Packers are going to go into games and they should win, and they're going to pull a loss out of their ass.
So
The Packers
the Packers are a bad team.
Yes,
they're not a good team, but they still weirdly have the aura walking into the arena where the other team is not going to be like, oh, we just got the Packers this week.
Yeah, you're not Atlanta,
Right? Yeah, like teams are still seeing Aaron Rodgers in that helmet walk into their stadium, and they get up for that game, and they want to embarrass that team and make a statement, often in front of the country, when they play the Packers. The Bears just don't have that, right? So there's a little element to people might pull the Patriots.
Well, that's
I can play two quarterbacks.
my counterpoint was going to be teams don't take the Bears seriously. They make an embarrassing statement about themselves on national
Yes.
TV.
But it's good for the Bears, bad
It's
for the
good for the
Packers.
Bears.
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers coming with that helmet. No, this is really off topic.
No, but I like Aaron Rodgers slander.
How is Aaron Rodgers' helmet legal in the modern NFL, but the one Antonio Brown wanted to wear that one year wasn't? Like Aaron Rodgers' helmet looks like it's out of like 73 with his chin strap that you get on like toy football
I
helmets.
love the chin strap.
I don't get it.
I love the chin strap.
I-
The one buckle chin strap.
Oh, me too, because he always has to yank it off after going 3 and out again.
He does.
Really hit to see it.
So he was
Well,
involved
at
in
least
that whole helmet fiasco. When the league brought in new helmets, he was one of the players that made a stink about it. He's just
Rodgers?
Yeah, he wasn't happy about having to switch his helmet. So it is a new legal helmet. The difference is he's not Antonio Brown crazy, so he didn't like absolutely like burn up an organization over his helmet. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, at least the Bears now have a wide receiver that we recognize. by
Well,
name.
well. They have a great duo in Chase Claypool and N'Keal Harry.
How much you want to bet Chase Claypool walks in that locker room and walks up to Darnell Mooney and says, "I wear number 11 now"?
Oh, that's absolutely happening.
Right,
And
he's going to
just
pull
not-
some crazy
but he's not gonna-
egotistical crap.
Is this before or after the TikTok together?
They made a TikTok together?
They will.
No, I don't think they will.
Is Mooney a TikTok guy?
No.
No,
Isn't
Claypool's trying to force him, just like how Juju forced him into it. It's like a grandfather situation.
Jeez. So, my thing with this trade for the Bears is not a huge Chase Claypool guy.
Great at Notre Dame.
Great at Notre Dame. He's not a bad football player. I just don't really like him that much, so maybe a little bias here. Now, walking up to me on the street and telling me, hey, I just traded Roquan Smith for Chase Claypool. I don't love it. Now, with the Bears situation, it makes sense objectively.
It does.
Yeah.
To an extent. Now, would I perhaps have liked them to go get a different receiver with that swap? Yeah, sure. But it's a young, super physically talented receiver. Like, whatever else you think of him, the guy's a freak show athletically. Yeah. He's played well when given the opportunity this year. He's made a lot of big plays. Not necessarily a lot of big plays. He's made big plays when given the chance because he plays in Pittsburgh and it's offensive hell over there right now. But you do give Justin Fields, who at this point in time is not the most pinpoint accurate quarterback ever, a deep threat, which is one of the things Fields does well.
Yep.
We'll just go get the ball and just go make plays. And it takes a lot of pressure off of Mooney, who I certainly do not think is anything resembling a 1.
Yeah. No.
Now, I have questions about if Claypool can be that, but he's a lot closer than Mooney is.
Yep.
But Mooney being a 2 is a pretty dangerous little number 2 receiver. You have Cole Kmet. You have that back Armstrong that Colin Coward was all fired up
about.
Armstrong. I love Armstrong.
So strong.
If you actually watch football, you would know that you have Khalil Herbert and Ty Montgomery, who are actually very good running backs.
David Montgomery.
Oh, no.
That's tough.
Oh,
damn.
Ty Montgomery
that's
is
really tough.
on the Patriots.
He is. That's brutal.
That's brutal.
That's really brutal.
Oh,
My bad,
man.
Colin.
You want to talk about the Giants so you can just really make sure you know what we're talking about?
What?
Kadarius Toney, he's next on our list. It's a great segue.
Hey, he's still in the Giants, right? I'm kidding.
Yeah. So
That was good.
the Giants have had this issue in recent years with receivers.
Where they don't have them.
Well, yeah, that's kind of the issue. Is they kind of all – you'd rather they not be on the roster, which is why they are no longer on the roster. Kadarius Toney to KC. The Giants, they're 6-2. They're on the rise, and they traded away their first-round pick receiver from last year.
And they desperately need people to catch passes. Their
Yeah.
leading receiver is Ricky James. So, like, it wasn't like Pittsburgh where, to a degree, you're like, oh, we have Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. We'll grab a second-rounder for Claypool and use that capital elsewhere. The Giants, like, literally are close to having the three of us line up for them out wide and just figuring it out. So, I'm fine with the move from the Giants where they are now. What's really frustrating for me, and I don't think it's talked enough about in terms of, or at least within the Giants community, and it's just the final stamp on what is one of the worst errors of NFL GMing ever done by Dave Gettleman. So the Giants draft scenario in 2021, this is Micah's second year, yeah?
Yeah.
2021, was they had the 12th pick. They wanted Devonta Smith really bad.
Mm-hmm.
No, they had the 11th pick. They had the 11th pick. They wanted Devonta Smith really bad. Now, me personally, I fancy myself a bit of a draft nerd, yeah. So I had a little wish list for the Giants, and the wish list was Devonta Smith, Micah Parsons, and Rashawn Slater. The Giants at that point hadn't Andrew Thomas isn't what he was now. I think he had just had his rookie season. It was up and down. They hadn't had a legit left tackle or pass rusher since they won the Super Bowl, and they won the Super Bowl because they had those players, and they were just like, it worked once, it's not going to work again, so we won't do it again, right?
Obviously.
But I would have been fine with Devonta Smith. But the Eagles jump up to 10 and grab Smith in that draft. So the Giants are sitting there at 11. With Micah Parsons and Rashawn Slater on the board. Mind you, two players who were projected to be way gone at this point.
Yep.
These were dropping players. Dallas sits behind them at 12. You know what the Giants were like? You know what we're going to do? We're going to make a trade with the Bears. And we're going to draft an injury-prone Tavon Austin with our first pick, leaving one of the best defensive prospects in recent memory. For those who paid attention, Parsons was absolutely that. Yeah. And people didn't even know he could pass rush.
Yeah.
His whole thing was he was an athletic off-ball linebacker like Edmonds is in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And I was like all over it, man. I was like, they haven't had a linebacker in forever. Turns out he's basically a young Von Miller on top of that. Mm-hmm. They're like, nah. Or Rashawn Slater, a rookie Pro Bowler. We don't need those guys. Give me one extra first-round pick, which I'm sure you'll use well, Dave Gettleman. So they end up swapping out with the Bears. The Bears jump up to draft Fields. And all of a sudden Devonta Smith is having a good season in Philly, and Micah Parsons is maybe the best defensive player in the league right now this season, because Aaron Donald still exists. But this season, Depoy favorite for the Cowboys. Not great.
No.
Not great. And
No.
then you end up essentially trading out for a third-round pick, fifth-round pick. And they did get, I forget who it was. They got Thibodeau or Evan Neal out of the deal this past draft, which both I think are going to be really good players.
Yeah.
They're not Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So,
They're not.
A little frustrating. I like it for KC, a little reclamation prospect. If
Yeah,
they get him
why
on the
not?
field and he's healthy, like, sure.
Exactly.
It's fun. But I think it was a good move for where the Giants are now, and I think their GM has his head on straight, which is awesome. They were a team that very easily could have reached and said, hey, we're better than we thought we were. We're going to throw caution to the wind and go throw some draft capital at a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. And they're like, you know what? I don't think, and what Schoen said in an interview was, I don't think adding any one player this season is going to exponentially increase our chances of winning. And I completely agree. I think it was a great move. They're sticking to the long-term vision. This is just, they're just better than they're a little better than they thought they were earlier on. So the process just pushed forward a little bit, but thought they had a good deadline by not doing anything and getting something back for Toney, who was a depreciating asset, at least in that organization. It wasn't going to get any better. Getting a third and a fifth or whatever they got for him was fine.
All I'll say is this. If the Patriots got out after year one and traded N'Keal Harry for a third and fifth round pick,
Jeez.
oh my
There
God.
you go, right? Like,
Oh my.
in the NFL, man, admit when you're wrong and admit when you're wrong early.
Yeah.
You usually won't regret it. The people who lose jobs are the ones that stick to it, right? So,
Yeah.
Pastor G made a mistake and you move on from it.
Yeah. And last quick trade we want to talk about, Robert Quinn to the Eagles. Sneaky move that happened, but a great move, I thought, for Philly.
I like it. Jordan Davis got hurt. I think they put him on IR today. So bolsters the defensive line a little bit. So.
Little bit. Dude, at 18 and a half sacks last year. He's a stud.
Yeah.
I thought it was a perfect win-now move
Yeah.
for Philly. Like, why not throw in an extra edge rusher? You're going to place, not in the NFC, but you're going to probably play a good quarterback somewhere in the playoffs,
Somewhere,
right?
you would think,
Somewhere,
yeah.
you would think. Like, maybe Geno Smith, you got to get some pressure on. Like,
MVP Geno?
that's a good question. If the playoffs started today and you're a playoff team, let's say if you're Philly, because Jalen Hurts would probably be the answer to this, you're looking at the field. What quarterback scares you the most?
One, Thomas Brady.
That's actually the answer because he's got
That
that.
is
But
actually
if
the
the
answer.
season started today, he's not in the playoffs.
Are they really not? Yeah,
Good
they're
work,
not.
man.
Yeah,
They're not.
They're not.
Dak Prescott, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Dak.
Like,
Dak. Yeah.
But I'm not, like, shaking in my boots like, oh, no, Dak Prescott's coming to town. Like,
Hey, Jimmy G's been to a Super Bowl.
yeah, but you fear the Niners.
got a
You
couple
don't
rings.
Yeah.
fear
He
Jimmy
does have a
G.
couple rings. 2 times.
Championship
Super Bowl
medal.
champ.
Jimmy G is, like, the epitome of quarterbacks,
Just win, baby.
of wins or a quarterback stat. Like, literally, there are literally probably, there's 32 teams. There are probably 45 quarterbacks in the league that could do what he does. And
He wins football games.
he's the one who gets to do it.
He wins football games.
All right.
Good trade
That's
talk.
good trade talk. Great trade deadline.
Great trade deadline.
Quickly on the Bradley Chubb, I just did want to throw this in. Listen, it's cute what the Dolphins did, but the Patriots have Isaiah Wynn at offensive tackle, so we'll be fine.
Can I throw in one thing with the Bradley Chubb thing that I forgot to mention earlier? We've talked about. In terms of giving GMs and organizations their flowers here a little bit with some of these moves, the Dolphins took the 3 picks they got from San Francisco and have turned them into Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb. Whatever you think of your quarterback, man, that's how you put a roster together, and that's how you turn a really... We're 3 years removed from them being 0-7 midseason and thinking this is one of the worst teams ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And an absolute disaster. The owner is like courting Tom Brady. There's calls to sell the team. There's the whole Brian Flores fiasco.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they're flipped around and they think they're Super Bowl contenders. Why can't they be, right? Like, incredible GMing and organizational job done in Miami, which are words I did not think I would be saying.
Yeah. Well, at least the Niners got a good starting quarterback out of it because Jimmy G is back, baby.
He's back.
He's back.
So back.
All right.
I just can't wait for Tom Brady to play for that team at age 46.
I was going to throw
Just
that in
remind
with the
people
McCaffrey
how
thing.
good he is still.
If that's a setup for Brady, that's
I think that'd be good for Brady. Leave
We're
Giselle.
not doing this.
Leave Giselle on the East Coast. Get over
Not
to the
doing
West
this.
Coast.
Not doing this.
all right. So that wraps up our NFL deadline talk. There's one more thing we want to get to before Sam's send-off, which apparently is electric today.
It's going to be fun. It requires collaboration between Mike Randall and Andrew Cohen.
Oh.
Okay.
Teamwork, dreamwork, baby.
Interesting.
All right. But before that, we want to get into all the Nets drama. There's been a lot going on. You got
Bastards.
Kyrie retweeting anti-Semitic documentaries.
No, actively tweeting it out.
And actively tweeting it out, yes. And then you have them firing Steve Nash and then hiring Ime Udoka, which because, well, they don't have enough drama there.
It was a battle of immorality.
What is going on in Brooklyn?
They're a crapshoot.
This is one of the most embarrassing organizations I've ever seen in professional sports, especially one that is not actively trying to be awful or does not have like a racial bigot at owner. Outside of those two things, like you could not handle an organization in a worse manner.
It's
crazy.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's a bleep show over there right now. Forget about the fact that the basketball team isn't playing well. Their star point guard who makes $40 million has not really done anything of note in the last 5 years on the court.
No, he really hasn't. The worshipping of Kyrie Irving on the basketball court by other players and media is one of the more astounding things I've seen recently in the sports. It's bizarre.
Don't get it.
Because he doesn't contribute to winning anymore. He's no longer a good basketball player.
Yeah.
He is a talented basketball player. If the goal is to win basketball games and you roll him out at point guard, there are now 12 guys that are probably more effective at getting you wins on a basketball court than Kyrie Irving.
Like Darius Garland.
He's flaky. He doesn't pass. He's not running the show at any point. He can get his own shot. That is the only thing he does. Can't pass, can't play defense, doesn't rebound.
Not only
can't play defense, he's a black hole on defense.
Yeah.
He's not going to get teammates involved. He's going to eviscerate anything resembling chemistry on the team. And what? Because twice a year he's going to get you 60 in 3 quarters? Like, that's adorable. That's really cute.
But
LeBron's never done that. I've never seen KD do that.
Yep.
Could they? Sure.
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
You think peak LeBron in Miami at some point said, I'm gonna score 70 tonight. Against Charlotte back when they were that bad. KD sure as crap could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Even Devin Booker did.
40 in his sleep. Yeah, congratulations, you got some handles, Uncle Drew. Like, you were fun back in 16. And I have separated the two people. I will forever love Cleveland Kyrie.
Two Elvises.
I hold him near and dear to my heart. He was one of my favorite athletes ever. But the player he's become since he left, it's crazy. It's like if Antonio Brown was allowed to keep playing football during the downward spiral.
But he got like 2 targets
but
a game.
Kept playing.
Yeah.
And just sucked. The one thing about AB was he was still good.
Yeah.
He was just a disaster. Did you guys see the tweet I sent you today from First Things First?
I saw. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but
so I'll try to make this quick. But Nick Wright on First Things First today on their show, he went over Kyrie's recent history in terms of the teams he played for and the result. And his point was Kyrie Irving has, for the last half decade, been handed some of the best basketball opportunities you could ask for. Playing next to LeBron James in the finals every year. He leaves that. He goes to Boston at a point in time when what they were really looking for was a guy to run the ship.
Yep.
They needed one superstar to step in. They had everything else you could ask for. Organizational structure, up-and-coming young players, great role players, great veteran leadership. He didn't even have to lead, man. He just had to show up and get buckets. Do what he does, what we thought he was going to do. He blows that whole thing up in 2 years. And that wasn't even, now doesn't even look like the half of it. Mm-hmm. He comes to Brooklyn, gets paired with Kevin Durant with, a great young roster with assets, with defense, with youth, a little bit of veteran leadership mixed in there, right? Like that Brooklyn team before the James Harden trade looked like a favorite because of what they already had in place, and you add the 2 superstars. And then they trade for James Harden, and it looks like they're going to win a title. And since that point, mix in a few key injuries here, some crazy off-court nonsense here, a global pandemic, and in large part because of Irving, that situation's gone nuclear. And now, we literally are sitting here and we don't know how to react to this stuff because it's so crazy.
Yeah. I have a theory. I think we should. Why do we give him the time of day? He has been irrelevant on the basketball court for half a decade.
It's because he can put on a show. That's the reason.
And he makes a lot of money, and he has a big following that he
all of his
tweets out anti-Semitic stuff too, and then doesn't take any responsibility for it.
Not taking accountability.
Hey, do not dehumanize Kyrie Irving. Don't dehumanize him.
Honestly, not even bizarre. It's just who he is.
Also, he doesn't know what dehumanizing means.
He has an influence, but he doesn't have an influence.
Right. He openly admits that he has an influence in the press conference.
But he's no different from anyone
And 30 seconds later, he gets mad at the media for building up this influence that he doesn't have.
This guy sucks. This guy just sucks. Like, Boston fans, low-key, the Kyrie hate aged well, so this is a win for Boston.
Celtics fans were right.
Rare, drunk, probably kind of racist Celtics fan win.
What's really a shame for me is we have two of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen who have somehow managed to hold on to their greatness later into their careers than anyone thought was possible.
Yep.
LeBron especially. Kevin Durant's getting up there in age.
And also coming off the Achilles, too. That's the other thing.
Chills.
In a different era, Kevin Durant is long past his ability to be a top 5 player. Mm-hmm. LeBron and KD, in terms of impact, maybe they're not there anymore. But in terms of ability, they're absolutely still there. And by way of their own decision-making, have somehow ended up in situations that are going to... Their careers have essentially been ended 3 or 4 years earlier than they otherwise needed to be in terms of competing at the level we have come to expect them to compete at. And I don't think it's because of their abilities for the large part. And that's really, as a basketball fan, that sucks. Yep. I would love to see LeBron and Giannis meet deep in the playoff run.
Or how did we make this about LeBron?
It's more about, I was trying to make it more about KD, but LeBron's the other half of this example, right? Or we got KD with basically like LeBron's 2018 team around him, and he almost shot down that Bucks team that ended up winning a championship. Yeah. Like, I want more of those deep in. I want Tatum and KD not with what happened last year. Like,
okay, I see.
You see what I mean? Like, absolutely. Like there's meat left on the bone here that we're not going to see LeBron and Luka play to go to the finals or go to the conference finals to then play Steph.
Yeah,
we're not going to get to see that anymore because the two organizations these two players have attached themselves to are disasters. And a lot of it's ego driven, a lot of it's off court, and it's
stupid.
Yep.
It's the soap opera that is the NBA, but it's pretty disappointing to pay attention to and follow.
And then hiring Ime on top of it. Like, why?
That's crazy.
Why?
Like,
that's
from
like
an optics,
literally it's criminal.
It's unbelievable optically that they would choose to do that.
I mean, Quinn Snyder's there. Quinn Snyder's out there.
Great coach.
Yeah.
Great coach.
And now it's also causing like repercussions in the Celtics organization because players are getting pissed because they're like, well, he was bad enough to play for us, but not bad enough to play for them, even though it's just because the Celtics have upstanding morals and the Brooklyn Nets have just thrown that out the window.
This was the first moment where I looked at Joe Tsai funny in all this. I've kind of given him a pass in terms of Irving being a head case and higher in. He got power played by his star players, which happens to everybody. Right. That's the league today. They hired a bad coach because the players wanted him. I don't really put that on him too much.
Yeah.
This was the first time that I was like, dude, like,
what are you doing?
Read the room.
What are you doing? And here's I mentioned this to you yesterday. Since Sean Marks has been their GM, they've had 6 head coaches. It's going to be 7.
He's still
it's going to be 7 when Ime is announced.
Yeah.
Like, at what point are you, like, if you keep hiring bums.
Right.
He keeps putting together good basketball teams is the problem. They just unravel at the seams for these.
So he's not putting together your basketball teams.
On paper, they're fine.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, are we good with the Brooklyn thing?
I mean, I could also just mention quickly, like on the basketball part of it too. They're like, oh, Ime, defensive guy. The Brooklyn Nets defense is about to be elite, and I'm like, with what defenders?
They don't have the personnel.
They don't have the
personnel.
Kyrie Irving.
Brown's gone.
Kyrie Irving. Kidding me? Joe Harris, Steph Curry? Are you kidding me?
No, and Kevin Durant
with all due respect,
at certain points has been a very good defender. Yeah. You just flatly cannot expect to ask much of him on the defensive end at this point in his career.
You're also
logically,
stupid
if you want him to play well.
Yeah. It's a dumpster fire. It really is, because every year it's if they're able to put it together, and every time someone says that, it gets worse.
It's
and
not being
worse.
put together.
It's crazy.
It's a
It unravels
five.
even
The
further.
offseason, that team's going to make this offseason very interesting.
It's a 5-year-old trying to do a 1,000-piece puzzle. It's never going to be put together.
And apparently
Yeah.
Ben Simmons came up in a trade rumor the other day, too.
Yep, I saw that.
I'm serious.
Yeah, for a
Came up.
shooter or something. Yeah.
Yep. So
My theory is it's Klay Thompson.
one other quick NBA thing that I wanted to touch on before we move
Sure.
on. We're good on Brooklyn here.
Yeah.
So again, I was watching First Things First earlier today, and Chris Broussard brought this up in a discussion. Apparently, there's concern about Kawhi's knee. There was initially concern. He's only played like 2 of the 7 games.
I think he's out 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
They just announced he's on like a 6-game hiatus or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's not traveling with the team. He's reportedly frustrated, which great reporting. Of course, he's frustrated. The dude wants to hoop.
If only he didn't wait a month to
So-
get his second opinion.
You guys, I think, sent me a text today that the Lakers had moved out of last place in offensive rating, and in come the Clippers.
Yeah.
It was kind of a joke, but I'm sitting there looking at that like that's a Clippers team that on paper I picked to go to the finals. That's ridiculously deep. I wouldn't think that would happen even without Kawhi.
Right.
But the reason being for that is because one of the best players in the league isn't going. Now, apparently, the worry was tendonitis. Within the last few days, that worry has escalated to it might be something worse. And I have never rooted really for Kawhi to win basketball games, but I do enjoy watching him play. I wish him well. Right? I want to see him play deep in the playoffs. So I really hope this isn't what happens. I immediately went to Todd Gurley. First thing that popped in my head. It was a torn ACL after a history of knee injuries, tendonitis in the knee, and he's out of the league in 2 years, and we never know why. It's just the knee. There was never another catastrophic injury for Gurley.
Yep.
It was just the knee deteriorated, and he lost a step. Then he lost another half a step. Then he lost another step. All of a sudden,
How
he's
old is he now,
retiring
28?
after 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he goes from literally in a 4-year span, he goes from 2 straight first-team All-Pro seasons to on the Falcons and then out of the league.
Yep.
So I immediately went to that when I heard that it was thought to be tendonitis. It's now perceived to be worse. We don't know if he re-injured it. It may have been better if he re-injured it and just needs to be treated for something new than the degradation of his knee. But that's a major storyline to follow here because that deals with one of the top contenders in the Western Conference, and that they're out. They're out. They might not make the play-in if he's not able to suit up for 60 games.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'll say about, you know very well, I'm not a fan of. He's just always rubbed me the wrong way for whatever reason. We don't have to get into it. But when he's on the basketball court, he's a freaking killer. He always brings out the best in who he's playing against, and it just makes for really exciting basketball. So to have, hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we can get him back at least in time for playoffs. But
I was really when I heard that report, I was immediately worried, and that was immediately the player I thought of, and I really hope that's not the case. But bears mentioning because it's going to be a story going forward here that the Nets and Clippers may be out of the running before the season even gets started. To the extent that you thought those teams were, give or take, but
Yeah.
NBA man, it never lacks drama.
Nope.
never does.
It's supposed to be the quiet season.
League that never sleeps.
It really doesn't.
All right. It is now time for one of our favorite segments on every episode, Sam's Send-Off by Sam. What do you have for us today?
Okay, so it's November 2nd that we're recording this?
Yeah.
And that means it is World Cup month, and I could not be more excited. It's the biggest spectacle in sports until the next World Cup.
You mean the Super Bowl?
Yeah, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, February?
Super Bowl already happened this year.
Yeah.
So it's the second biggest sports spectacle of the year.
Point
No?
being.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, 100 million Americans can watch it.
We're in America, Sam.
Well, let's see how much you value America here. So I'm gonna tease the next podcast a little bit. Ben Posman and I are doing a World Cup MegaCast preview.
Who's Ben Posman?
King Jammer.
There we go.
And we're recording that on Friday. But part of that is we're going to kind of do our own World Cup bracket predictions. And I wanted to give you two a chance to do some collaboration and put yours to the test against ours.
Little World Cup March Madness action.
Yeah.
Now-
Are you and Jammer picking it together?
No. Ours will be separate.
Okay.
But that's
All right.
going to be the organizational structure for the podcast.
Okay.
Now,
Right.
you two know what's...
Nothing.
Okay.
This is
negative
this
about
is
soccer.
this is the soccer mom picking her March Madness bracket based on the mascots.
That is true. That's a very good analogy.
With slight influence based on past military conquests and matchups throughout world history.
Occasionally, depending on how much we like a country's food.
Or flag.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Or if we somehow manage to know a guy on the roster.
Might be able to drop some soccer names today.
Yeah.
That would be impressive. Okay, let's here. Let me get it out.
There's that Messi guy plays in somewhere South America, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the way this works is there's 8 groups, A through H.
Yeah.
The winner of Group A plays second place in Group B.
You sure that's how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
C to D, F to E, G to H.
Okay.
So,
I trust you.
Thank you. It's kind of a confusing looking bracket we've printed out here, but I'm not going to mess it up.
Okay.
So I'll give you 4 names and 4 teams in a group, and you just give me first and second.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Netherlands, and Senegal.
Netherlands to win.
Yeah,
They're the
good.
orange team, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, they're good.
Yeah, they're the good because
They're good.
in that part of the world, they're the good one.
They're good. What are the other
What's
3
the
teams
country
there?
with the guy with the striker who's like on fire but they
Holland?
stink? Yeah.
Holland. Well, not Holland the country,
Right.
Holland the player who plays for Norway.
Norway. Is
So
Norway in the
Norway
World Cup?
stinks
Norway's not in the World
Okay,
Cup.
that makes sense because
because
that's
they
what you
have
said,
like
yeah.
G leaguers around like a couple stars, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
It's not how you win soccer matches.
It's not.
It's not how you win soccer matches.
It's a weak link sport.
How the Lakers are trying to win an NBA championship.
Michael, we're not making the World Cup without the
I'm
Lakers.
just saying, it's very similar.
Who's coming in second?
Wait, what are
Senegal, Ecuador, and Qatar. Home country, Qatar.
Like Senegal.
Senegal?
Yeah,
Yeah, I like
Senegal's a
Senegal.
sneaky.
I like Senegal. All right.
Okay, Group B.
Group B.
England, Iran, Wales, and the United States of America.
USA is coming in first.
USA number
Coming
one.
in first.
Obviously.
Obviously, and that,
Britain, we have no problem with the Brits.
yeah, we have no problem.
No
with them.
problem with the Brits.
History shows we have no problem.
Yeah. We're 2-0.
But they will
That's
come in
good.
A
second.
definitive 2-0, and then we had to bail them out a couple times.
Yeah,
We did have to bail him out.
Yeah. I think Britain does come, or England does come in second.
I agree.
I think they're actually good at soccer, right? Just a little
That's what-
up and down.
that's
Well,
what the
up and
word
down.
on the street
They're a little
is.
like, they're prone to like letdowns, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's usually because they never have the
And we're
right guy.
prone to stinking, but that's
we
not
just
going to be
suck.
the case this year.
We also might have the worst coach.
Weston
in the World Cup.
McKinney and Christian Pulisic
Yeah.
Let's
are
go.
going to carry the day.
Let's go.
Look at that.
Look at this guy.
There
Is
we go.
McKinney playing? He's banged up, right?
It's questionable. We don't really
Who
know.
are who are
He's
the
gonna-
goalkeepers?
He's going to battle through.
Matt Turner's likely going to start
Okay, so there we go. So I have trust.
because
Matt
we
Turner's
thought
my
it was
guy.
going to be Zach Steffen, and he sucks.
Well,
Can we
yeah.
bring Tim Howard out of retirement?
No, Matt Turner's better than
He's
Tim.
not
What
retired.
about the-
Tim Howard is
the
not
woman-
retired.
what
he
about
is,
the women's
he is on
goalie who's
NBC
like-
Sports.
Said some really offensive stuff.
She beat up her sister.
Oh, is that what she did?
Yeah,
Well, that's even worse. I knew she did something bad.
that's close.
Dude, Matt Turner's that guy. He's
Do you
him.
think?
Matt Turner is good.
No, never mind. I lost my train of thought.
Okay,
Sorry,
That's okay.
continue.
continue.
Group C. You have Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Poland, and Mexico.
Argentina.
Wins it?
Argentina to
Wins.
win. Messi's got one last
I
little
feel
run
like
in him.
I feel like that team's probably good outside
They
like
gotta
around him
be.
too.
The biting guy plays for.
Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Why
He
do I
played-
associate him with Messi?
He played at Barcelona with Messi.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Is this Suarez?
Yeah.
Hey,
Let's
look
go.
at this.
That's 3.
That's 3.
Hey, but Matt
Dude,
Turner's
I
a big one.
remember seeing those. I remember watching like the old Sports Center when I was younger, and they're just like, "We bring you breaking news from across the pond." This guy's just chomping on people in soccer games.
That was insane.
They're
Yeah.
so funny too.
It's insane.
All right,
Must have
who are
been a
the
Mike
other,
Tyson fan
other 3
growing up.
teams?
Mexico, Poland, and Saudi Arabia.
Mexico?
My only question with Mexico is we beat Mexico,
That's a good point.
right?
That's a good point. Poland?
Poland could be sneaky.
All right, we'll go Poland.
Go Poland.
We'll go Poland.
The Poles.
Yes, the Poles.
I like that.
Group D. France, Australia, Tunisia, and Denmark.
Okay,
All right,
France
So
is going
France
to win.
to win.
Denmark, Australia, and who?
Tunisia.
Tunisia.
Fun
like-
fact, you can still go to Tunisia, and you can see the original home of the Skywalker residence.
Okay.
What?
Because they
Like-
filmed it there, so like the giant, like the Skywalker house is still there.
Hmm.
Like from the 70s.
That does make them a live dog.
They have.
But is it enough?
What were the other ones?
Australia and Denmark.
I feel like Denmark might be
I feel
pretty
like
good.
that part of I feel like Denmark would be good. That part of the world seems to produce.
Yeah. My
high-level
thing with
soccer.
Australia.
Is that Denmark then?
Yeah, because my thing with Australia is I feel like a lot of their best athletes might not play soccer.
Yeah, big rugby,
Rugby.
big fighting culture in
Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand. Great, a lot of great Aussie fighters,
Do a lot of kangaroo wrangling.
and they have pretty good basketball there too. Like,
Yeah.
Ben
And
Simmons.
Simmons.
pretty versatile. They got
So
they got
versatile.
like a pretty good pro league. I meant
Yeah.
the country's versatile
Right.
athletically. Like
Yeah.
they're not all
Not
all-
Ben Simmons.
Like a lot of these countries, like soccer's the number one,
Yeah,
number
yeah,
two,
yeah.
and number
That's fair.
3. In Australia, they play a number of sports at a high
Exactly.
level.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Aussie rules football.
They have a good Olympic team.
Yeah.
Really good Olympic team.
Group E. Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan.
Probably Spain to win.
Spain to win.
Wait, sorry, say the other names.
Costa Rica, Japan, and Germany.
Oh, Germany to win. Sorry. Yeah,
I was going to be the one to
yeah
say
I Spain to come in second.
Spain to come in
though.
second?
Yeah. I didn't hear Germany the first time around. The German machine.
Yeah. Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia.
Canada's out there too soft.
Yeah. I feel like Belgium's probably good,
I
right?
feel like Belgium's
Didn't
gotta
Belgium
be good.
beat the U.S. in 2014?
I think so. It was either 2014 or 2010.
No, it was 2014 because I watched it.
They can beat us. They must be good, right?
Yeah.
They must
Hey,
be good.
U.S. is in the knockout round right now.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, we're
Who are the other three teams?
number one seed out of that pool or whatever group.
Yeah.
So Belgium won.
Belgium won. Okay.
And then we have Canada. Who else?
We've
Canada,
eliminated
Croatia,
Canada.
and Morocco. So Croatia or Morocco if you've eliminated Canada due to maple syrup.
I like Morocco.
I could see a sneaky Morocco run.
I like Morocco. Let's go dancing.
Let's go dancing in Morocco. All right. Final two groups here. We've got Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
Brazil
Brazil to win,
win.
easily.
And then who are the other three?
Switzerland, Serbia, and Cameroon.
I like the idea of Cameroon.
I do too.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Oh, sneaky
I think that's a
sneaky
sneaky
run
play.
from Cameroon.
Yeah.
Shout out Joel Embiid, I think.
Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea.
Portugal
to win. And then we have what? Uruguay.
Is Ronaldo going to actually play?
Yes.
Or is he going to like throw hissy fits like he's been doing?
No, he's going to play because
This is it for him.
this is like this could be a punctuation, an exclamation mark on a career if he does it right.
He's not going to win it though.
I know, but he could still like lead the tournament in goals or something like that.
Oh,
And Portugal's
okay. So like his
Yeah,
last
one-
chance to really.
A last dance, perhaps.
yeah,
Okay. Who are the other three countries?
Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea.
What about Ghana?
Give me Ghana.
I think that's a sneaky one. I think people are sleeping on Ghana, in my expert opinion.
Hey, a 12 seed beats a 5 seed every year.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
A double-digit seed gets to Elite 8 or Final Four.
That's true.
Yeah.
Quite
And I
often.
don't. And if you're telling me Suarez played for Uruguay, I don't know if they have that championship medal.
They don't.
I don't know. He's liable to just bite a Ghanan player at a key point, lead to a free kick.
Get a red card, free kick.
Now
if
all of a
you're-
sudden you're down a goal, you're down a man.
If you're
Ghana could steal
if
one?
you're giving Ghana a man up, it's not even stealing at that point. It's just what we should come to expect.
Are they the ones that beat us in basketball?
No, that was Nigeria.
Oh yeah.
That
By
was-
Gabe Vincent of the Miami Heat.
Was it actually?
Yeah.
That's pain.
Oh, they had an NBA player.
Oh, they had a couple.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now nobody who's starting on an NBA team.
Okay.
I don't think, but
Much less our Olympic team.
Welcome to the round of 16, gentlemen.
the Sweet 16.
The Sweet 16.
This is terrible. Should never have done this.
The Sweet 16
Sweet
of the world.
16, yeah.
Netherlands or England?
Oh, Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Are you kidding me? That one's easy.
No respect for England.
No,
No,
not when it
no.
matters.
Argentina, Denmark.
Argentina.
Argentina.
Argentina. It's also Messi's last dance, probably.
Likely, yes.
Yeah.
He's more washed, right?
Messi?
Yeah.
Well, the issue is we can't really, Ronaldo's likely more washed, but Messi plays in a league where, the second best player in the French league wouldn't even make it onto his team. PSG plays in the French league, and if you took every player from the rest of the French league and compared it to anyone on PSG, there's not a single player in the rest of the French league that's better than the worst player on PSG. So he's
Oh wow! So he's playing on
yeah,
But is he playing well?
and he's playing with he's playing as you would expect, but he's also playing with Neymar and Mbappe against just farmers. So we don't really know.
So it's like the 2017 Warriors playing in the G League
Exactly.
or some crap.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Like guys wouldn't even make
Yeah.
the roster.
Yeah.
Here's also my
That's
thinking.
wild.
I think even if he was more washed, Argentina feels like it's going to have a roster.
They usually have a good team.
Yeah,
they were in the
they had the
final 8
heartbreak
years
in
ago.
the
Yeah.
2014 final.
George?
What happened to
could be
them
back.
in 18?
I feel like they dipped out early.
I do too.
Yeah,
They're coming back with a
they
vengeance.
had a disappointment.
Coming back with a vengeance. I like that.
What happens?
Chip on their shoulders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Germany, Morocco.
I
do you
hate
think?
to see the dance end after such a short reign.
Tough draw for the
I
Moroccans.
think if Morocco plays really well, maybe Germany gets a couple red cards. Maybe Morocco can steal a goal early. I could totally see them hanging around and making it interesting. Germany will probably win 6-1, 6-2.
Yeah.
But a competitive 6-1.
It was. It
Yeah.
didn't. The scoreline didn't reflect.
No, it didn't
the,
reflect. That 15-minute stretch
Well, it was
where
like they-
Germany scores 4
they pulled-
times.
they
pulled-
Outside of that, it would have been
Pulled
close.
the goalkeeper at the end and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ticky-tack one on late.
yeah.
Brazil, Ghana.
Oh,
come
both
on.
Cinderellas at the same
Are
time.
you serious?
You guys still have Cameroon.
Okay.
Well,
Brazil.
Brazil. They're good at the football.
They are good.
USA, Senegal.
No, USA. Come on.
Okay.
Want to go
Okay.
Senegal?
This feels like classic USA football meltdown.
Oh, of course it does.
This has it written all over it. They win the group stage.
They beat England,
we get a
they get
USA.
out.
We get a USA's back.
And then we play Senegal, who we have there's nothing there. We're not playing a country that
It's
we
not
really
like we're
get
playing
up for.
England or something.
Yeah.
So, I'll give it to you, Mike.
Give me one. Give
I'll
me
give
one
it to you.
elimination.
I'll give it to you. All I know is Germany's going out in the next round.
Has
Though.
America ever won 2 elimination games in the World Cup?
No.
Have they ever won one?
Yes.
How many times? Often or not often?
We won one in 2014 and 2010, I think.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's
not
twice
bad.
in the last decade
Yeah.
or so.
High floor, low ceiling.
Okay. Well, didn't they not make it in 2018?
Correct. That's
Okay.
that was for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
I was just freaking Bruce Arena.
God,
the
they didn't
dumbest
make
man.
it. That's
Hey,
crazy.
Hey. No Bruce Arena slander. Head coach of the New England Revolution.
Okay.
My New England Revolution.
France and Poland.
France.
France.
I feel like they're just a wagon.
Isn't there some isn't there a little hangover though usually?
There
Like
is.
the
Oh,
former
so-
champ
They
struggle,
did
right?
win.
Yeah.
So the former champ has never, I think Italy might have between 2002 and 2006.
I was going to
but
say they were a machine at that
Yeah.
point though, right?
But other than that, no one has ever made it out of group round after winning the
and
World Cup. the
isn't that
previous year.
crazy witch doctor guy not playing?
Well, Pogba's brother alleged that Mbappe hired a witch doctor. No, he alleged that Pogba hired a witch doctor to curse Mbappe. But now Pogba's hurt, and his brother is in prison. So that story's losing a little traction
Okay.
for
That
extortion.
was a good headline though.
That was a great headline.
Listen, all I'll say is this. We are setting up a USA versus France next round.
We are
Belgium, Spain,
Spain.
Blue Bloods.
Spain.
Spain.
I think people are underrating Spain. I think Spain is like that. It's that team where it's they're not quite at the top. They're like a 2 or 3 seed. They're not a 1 seed, but they're a 2 or 3 seed, but they're a strong 2 or 3 seed. You know,
They're the Franz Wagner, or the
Mo Wagner Michigan team.
Jeez, Franz. Hell no. The Mo Wagner
Yeah.
Michigan team. Sorry, Mo, that was disrespectful.
Portugal and Cameroon.
Only your brother was you.
Portugal and Is Cameroon end Ronaldo's World Cup career? I could see it.
I'd love to see it.
I think it's happening.
Let's go.
I don't think Portugal's roster is all that good.
Nah. I think
We're not looking at
Ronaldo will get into it with his coach at like halftime
Yeah.
or something and just stop playing defense. Feel like he's a real one-way player at this point. Not that he plays striker or anything, where you don't play defense, but
Okay. Now we are in the quarterfinals.
All right.
the Elite Eight, if you will.
Elite Eight.
First quarterfinal matchup is Netherlands-Argentina.
By the way, when Mike said that, Sam had just this look of disgust on his face that I don't think I've ever seen. All right, who are the teams?
We're comparing it to the greatest tournament in sports.
Be careful. Netherlands-Argentina.
See, I think Netherlands is better,
I
but Argentina's probably very good, and they have Messi, and I want to see Messi win.
Messi and
So
Argentina.
let's go Argentina.
I like that.
Dancing all the way to the Final Four.
They are.
Germany-Brazil.
Brazil.
Revenge game.
Brazil.
Revenge
Brazil.
The worst part about
After that demolition that happened in 2014. Wasn't it like 7-1 or something?
7-1 in Rio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that
that
Brazil team was favored to win it all that year too.
Yeah. It's because well, they didn't lose. Brazil was rattled because Neymar broke his vertebrae in the round before that against Colombia.
I knew he got hurt.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was
To
that.
be rattled and lose that much.
No, it's terrible.
But I think they're coming back with a vengeance here.
Germany, led by Arsenal legend Mesut Ozil. America versus France.
Arsenal has legends.
Shut up.
Don't you have to win to have legends?
Arsenal's the only team that's ever gone unbeaten in a season.
Yeah, and what,
Did they?
1962 when Bill Russell was winning NBA championship?
04.
My bad.
USA, France.
Is that the last time they won anything?
No. We win FA Cups all the time.
Anything anyone cares about?
Champions League?
Champions or Premier League?
That was their last Premier League, yes.
Did you win the Champions League?
We lost it to Barcelona in 05.
In what round?
Final.
Okay.
Wait,
you know
so
what?
the 04 team that went undefeated didn't win the Champions League?
Well, because they played it the next year.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
Were
they
they
lost
in
in
the
the final?
Champions League at the same time, by any chance?
So they pulled
Like-
the Patriots.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no. They didn't pull the Patriots because they won the Prem. It's different.
Yeah, but that's just like being the 1 seed.
No, but they weren't the 1 seed. It was because it was years of Manchester United dominance for literally a decade. It was like David Beckham and all those guys.
I know that guy. Bend it like Beckham.
Exactly. So then Arsenal come on and they go undefeated.
Oh, I got it. It's like how the Bills won the division one year and then went and lost in the divisional round.
No, but they won it all. That's the thing that I'm getting at here. They won the Super Bowl.
No,
I hate
but
saying that.
what match did they win to win the Super Bowl?
All of them. This is fucking
All of them?
stupid. We're not
No,
doing
like,
this. We're not
what
doing this.
elimination game did they
Yeah.
win?
Fuck out of here.
Raised a trophy.
You have me rattled.
Yes.
Stop. Stop. Stop.
They were the 1
Stop.
seed.
No,
they were the
I'm rattled.
Suns.
You got me. Okay, you got
They
me.
were the best team
you
in
got
the
it.
world.
You got it. You
They were
got
the
it.
best team in the world over 30 games, and then when it came down
No,
to
we weren't. We
winning,
were the best team in England over 38 games.
30 games.
38.
38.
But is all right.
And then when
not
it
the
came
world.
down, to
winning
winning the
time.
title, you lost.
Have you ever heard of Ronaldinho?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was on Barcelona. It was him and like Samuel Eto'o and
I'm not.
Pep Guardiola.
That's unfortunate for
Xavi,
you.
yeah.
I'm not saying they were bad. I was just asking if they won the Champions League.
No, they didn't win the
You tell me.
Okay, then just say no.
You're telling me they went undefeated in the Premier League. This isn't just some ragtag group of guys.
Okay, but the team he's talking about with Barcelona, like even
true.
I know those names.
Yeah,
Like
me too.
that team was disgusting.
USA, France.
What do you think, Mike?
I don't know, man. Would George Washington have beaten Napoleon? If
Roll
they were
ba-
both in their primes.
Roll back the French and Indian War.
That was France and Britain.
Yeah, but who did we side with? Britain. To evict France from North America.
Yeah. Like
See,
obviously France is better at soccer.
Here's the thing. If France didn't win in 2018, be France all the way. What do you want to do, Mike? This one's your call. I'm giving this one to you.
Don't put me in that position because now you call my patriotism into question.
Here's the thing.
There's nothing less
I
American
know there's
than
some
France.
part of you that wants to go with the U.S. in this.
Of course, there's a big part of me that wants to go.
And if you go with it, I'll be on board with you. But if not, then
you know what? We will discuss this later, but there are stakes here. So it's not just a willy-nilly pick from the heart. There is something to win, something for us to gain. It's Sam's misery, which we will describe later, but there is something on the line. So I'll make the pick with my head, not my heart. I think France brushes off the curse.
The witch doctor.
The witch doctor crap.
Okay.
They have arguably the best player in the world, right?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. And who has won a World Cup title?
yes.
So has the experience of taking a team
Yeah.
deep.
Mm-hmm. Now
We have Weston McKinney
we do
on one knee. Or whatever he heard.
Yeah.
Spain and Cameroon.
I'm sorry, Cameroon.
Yeah. It was a great
Spain.
run.
It was a great run.
It was Steph Curry's
And
Davidson run.
I see this as it's a close match. It's a close match, but Spain scores late, puts them up 2-1. They park the bus, and they take it home.
Parking the
dirty
bus
answer.
is an underrated tactical maneuver.
It is.
I agree.
Just ask Jose Mourinho. In our first semifinal matchup, we have Argentina.
Oh, Final Four.
Final four.
He's so disappointed in us.
We have Argentina and we have Brazil.
It sounds so much cooler than semifinal.
Yeah,
though.
it does.
We have Argentina and we have Brazil.
In the Final Four, okay.
Oh, that
That
that's
right there's
tough.
a matchup.
I think Brazil. Now,
don't
I
know.
would love to see Messi make it back to the final. But I feel like they're the favorites, right? Or among
They're
them?
the betting favorites, yeah.
Yeah.
Betting favorites. But
betting favorites never win
betting
March
favorites
Madness.
never win March Madness. That's true. I love the idea of Argentina here.
Let's do it. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
On the other side of the bracket, you have Spain and France.
I think I go Spain here. France is coming off the championship.
Okay.
They're due for a letdown at some point.
So they make a run, but they just run out of steam.
They run out of steam
towards the end. Okay.
versus a hungrier Spain squad.
Very young team.
Who are Spain's best players? They have some really good players, right?
They have essentially Barcelona's midfield. Gavi and Pedri, they're both like 21 and 19. That's going to be disgusting. And then just like solid defenders and flashy guys up top. So they're in a good spot.
Do we need to be concerned at all that their best players are 20 and 19? And Mbappe won it when he was 19.
Yeah.
So dang, that's younger than us. What are we doing with our lives?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Let's go with Spain. Let's go with
Spain.
the young Bucks.
Yeah.
They don't know what they don't know yet.
And now we get the young Bucks.
Versus the old man.
yeah,
versus
they're
the
gonna
grizzled
get worked
goat.
by the grizzled
grizzled
old
goat.
veteran.
We have Argentina and Spain in the final.
Argentina. That's right. Let's go,
I
Lionel.
want to give a quick shout out to Uncle Sebi. It's my uncle. He's from Argentina. Let's
Go.
ride. Let's ride.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. I like this.
This is a good bracket. This actually isn't bad.
All right. Here's my thing, right? So you're picking your own bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have some sort of like competition here where if we beat your bracket, then you have some sort of punishment.
I can do that.
I don't know. Now, if you win, nothing
I
happens
agree.
because
Yeah, I have no excuse to lose.
yeah, you have no excuse. You're the soccer expert. But what should the punishment be? Any ideas, Mike?
Who's Arsenal's blood rival?
Tottenham?
Yes.
The Tottenham Spurs.
I've done this bet before. I've lost this bet before. But I like the idea of dressing Samantha over here up in a nice Tottenham uniform. Not literally a uniform, but a jersey.
Just a jersey. Okay.
Jersey, a shirt. Maybe we get him one of those like scarves. That's real like soccery, right? A Tottenham
Oh.
scarf.
That's good.
We get him a shirt, a scarf. He has to wear it every day for a week.
I like that.
And
I don't want to.
in turn, as proof of completion, must post a selfie wearing.
Can it not be a selfie?
It can be a selfie, it can be a mirror pic, it can be however you want a picture of yourself taken in your wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
Post it on the Instagram and the Snapchat stories for all to see.
Mm-hmm. With some sort of like hashtag.
With the hashtag.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
yeah.
Either let's ride or go whatever the
Their
mascot
thing is,
is.
come on, you Spurs. That's so stupid.
Oh, that's even better.
That's so good.
That's even
For
better.
us, that's so good.
Yeah, come on, you
Oh,
Spurs.
are you kidding me?
Oh, that's terrible. Arsenal fans changed it to FOYS, which is fuck off, you Spurs. I think that's pretty funny.
There goes.
There goes the FCC.
Yeah, there goes the FCC. We made it an hour and 20.
It's fine.
Is it though?
Is it though?
Is it though?
Our poor producer's gonna be slaving away trying to correct your mistakes. Do you know how to do the bleep sound?
I wish I did.
If I have to wear Tottenham things,
You'll be fine. You're a soccer expert. You know all these teams.
I'll get this.
You'd be fairly miserable.
Here's
no?
the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that worries me is your quarterfinals.
They're not bad, right?
They're not
It's
bad.
U.S., France, Spain, Cameroon, Brazil, Germany, Argentina, Netherlands. Like, usually that's how it pans out. It's a bunch of blue bloods. Like, one or two might drop early, and you get a Cameroon, and you get a USA in there.
You know you're describing March Madness, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a Kentucky, you get the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
You get Kentucky. You get one of like Kentucky, Duke, UNC, probably two of the three.
Yep.
UCLA is usually around. You have Gonzaga these days, Baylor. Like you have your blue bloods, right?
Then you have Loyola Chicago.
And you have Loyola Chicago. You have a Michigan
Auburn.
team that gets hot. Auburn hangs around, and you're just like,
Yeah.
that's interesting. And then two or three of the blue bloods end up in the Final Four. Usually like two blue bloods, a team that's been really good all season. They're just not a true blue blood.
Right.
And then someone there, like, where the freak did they come from?
Yeah.
That's exactly what we have here.
And then you have if Messi wins this,
He's the
It's
GOAT.
the GOAT.
yeah.
And
Especially with Ronaldo
and yet Ronaldo's bowing out
to Cameroon
Sweet 16.
in the second round.
Here's the thing I will say is I feel like that Portugal team is good.
Okay.
They have the best defender in the Premier League. They have the best outside defender in the world. They have a really good creative core. They have a good experienced goalie.
But you have yet to describe to me how they're going to score goals.
I said they have a really good creative core.
Okay. I didn't really know what that meant, Sam.
It's like people that can create goal scoring opportunities for others.
Kyrie is very creative on the basketball court.
And if you don't need Ronaldo to do that, if you can have like Bruno and Rafael Leao and Bernardo Silva all creating for Ronaldo, and all he has to do is just score goals that are handed to him, that could be very, very worrisome.
Counterpoint. How many times have we seen Duke bow out in the first round? Virginia lost to UMBC that one year. We've seen it happen.
March Madness is made of upsets.
It is
That
made
is
of
what
upsets.
No one
the
is safe.
tournament is built
No one
on.
is safe.
No one is safe.
I'm not saying that anyone
One
is
of
safe.
the
Once-
big dogs has to go down early.
Yep.
The bigger they
We
are, the
picked
harder
one
they
with the
fall.
moody superstar,
So moody.
who everyone's going to be gunning for. He'll be pressing a little bit. He knows it's his last chance. He stinks this year.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be like, oh, no, I got it. And especially, he'll see Messi winning across the way.
Yeah.
He'll be like, I got a match. Maybe Messi gets a couple goals.
Oh,
He gets a little
A little
tunnel vision, a little I need to match.
a little golden boot race.
Stops spreading the wealth.
That's good.
And all of a sudden, you look up at the scoreboard, it's 3-1 Cameroon.
And then
And Joel
and,
Embiid.
and then they really press. Joel Embiid comes onto the Jumbotron.
Yep. Oh.
I like your Ghana pick.
Our Final Four is good, no?
Also, yes, your Final Four is very good. The Senegal beating U.S. is a hot take for sure. Senegal's the best team in Africa.
Wait, so
Okay,
you mean
we're the
U.S.
best team
over
in
Senegal?
America.
Or U.S. over Senegal
See,
is a hot take.
I still like Senegal. That's why I was on the fence there.
We're the best team in America.
That's fair. That's a great point.
So, but I'm just
A lot of talent in America.
yeah. See, what I'm glad about though is that I was like low-key right about Senegal. I just
Yeah.
had a feeling. I'm like,
Do you remember Senegal was the team that knocked Mo Salah out of both the Africa Cup of Nations and the World Cup
Probably
qualifiers?
subconsciously
He
I
plays for
did.
Egypt, right?
Yeah.
They're not in it?
No, because Senegal beat him in 2 back-to-back finals.
Dang.
Oh, we should have picked Sonny.
I like Mo Salah. He might be my favorite soccer
Because
player.
here's my thinking. Here's my thinking. We're gonna be watching that match, and it's like I don't want to be rooting for the bracket.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if we're gonna run into France, we're gonna run into a wagon. Okay, you know what?
But if it's a winnable game,
yeah,
you want to be chanting USA.
Exactly.
Along with all your fellow countrymen.
Exactly. We should bring back the
horns.
Yeah.
The revolutionary horns.
Get some drum lines going.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's going to be a great World Cup. Even better World Cup preview with Ben Posman, King Jammer.
Soccer March Madness. Too bad you only get it once every 4.
Yeah.
You get it every year. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I kind of like it, though. It makes it bigger stakes when it happens.
It does.
Just like we know that no matter what,
it is cool
this
that
is Messi Ronaldo's last World Cup.
The whole world comes together for it. It's pretty cool.
It is.
How old is Messi now? 36, 37?
Messi, I think, is 34, 35.
Oh, he's younger than that?
You said Messi, right?
Yeah.
Ronaldo's 37.
Oh, Ronaldo's the older one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Quick question. Has anyone ever picked a perfect World Cup bracket?
I'm sure they have. There's not that many teams.
I mean, likely. The hardest part is picking who comes first in the group round.
Okay.
Like first, second.
Yeah, that's true.
There was an octopus named Paul that picked the final matchup like 16 years straight, 20 years straight. It was like 4 or 5 World Cups.
Really?
An octopus. So they'd put like food in 2 different bowls, and he'd always pick the right one.
That was a pretty good octopus sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Good.
Effect.
No, he died before 2018. But
dang. R.I.P. Paul.
That's tough loss. Rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers to his family.
Peace and peace.
No, legitimate.
You
thoughts
should do it
and
with your
prayers to his
dog.
family.
That'd be good.
You should have a me and Andrew bracket, a Truman bracket, and then the Posmans brackets. I guarantee the Posmans come 3rd and 4th. I bet Truman wins. The dog wins.
Mm-hmm.
And Andrew and I come in 2nd.
Yep.
But the bet's not that we come in first. It's that we beat you.
Yeah. You just have to beat me.
What if Sam comes in last?
What I can't wait for is him to have a very similar Final Four.
Yeah.
And we get a couple of these upset picks right, and then he's just screwed because no matter how it plays out, we end up with the right people.
Yeah.
It's not like our champ's going to probably lose round 1.
Right.
So if we steal a couple early and then it all funnels into the same group
he doesn't
of
have
teams.
Ghana coming out of the he doesn't have Ghana coming out. He has Portugal over. He doesn't even have Cameroon coming out of that group. And then all of a sudden
Cameroon's in the Elite 8 and his finalists out of that side of the bracket's gone.
Group G is going to be interesting. That's the Cameroon, Serbia, Brazil, Switzerland group.
That feels like a good group.
Because Serbia, Cameroon, and Switzerland are all in a similar plane, Serbia and Switzerland especially.
But Cameroon has Joel Embiid.
They do.
And so that's where he got his flopping, fun fact, from soccer. Yeah.
Where else?
Exactly.
Not from America.
I'm not responding to this. You guys actually got my head with the Arsenal thing. I'm not gonna. I won't pretend like you didn't rattle me with that. That got to me.
When's the last time they won a Champions League?
Not answering that question.
Never?
What?
They've never won Champions League?
Never won Champions League.
They've never won Champions League?
Yeah.
Is the Premier League...
So they've never won a Super Bowl. They've won a bunch of NFC championships.
Yeah.
No.
That's good.
No, that's just not...
How many Premier Leagues have they won?
A plethora. Over 10.
Okay.
Okay, when was the most recent one?
2004.
So, wait. They went undefeated. Where did they come in the next year?
Second to United. United won 2000, 2001. Arsenal won 2002. United won 2003. Arsenal won 2004.
Because here's the thing. Winning the Premier League, big deal. No question.
It's like going to a Super Bowl.
No, it's not.
It is.
Well, there's got to be something higher than that.
There's no comparison for American sports.
Okay, but if there were, just hear me out. In NFL, the greatest team accomplishment you can achieve is to win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
The second closest to that is winning a conference championship, which is a big deal. In soccer, the biggest accomplishment is winning the Champions League.
So this is where I will say no. Because it depends on the... So, for example, with Manchester City this past 5 years, right? Since 2018, their goal has been, we have this really rich oil money owner, and we want to win Champions League. they've won 4 Premier Leagues. They might win their 5th one this year. They haven't won Champions League. So, like, for them, if they just wipe through the Premier League this year, but they don't win Champions, this season's going to be seen as a failure.
Yeah.
For that Arsenal team, it was, oh my God, we have a chance to make history and go undefeated in the Premier League. So they started putting all their emphasis towards the league games, and maybe they would rest Thierry Henry for like a Champions League match. Whereas for Manchester City, Haaland is resting maybe against Manchester United in the spring, so he's fit to play against Dortmund in the Champions League on a Wednesday. So unless you are like an insanely rich team, which City have found themselves to be in the modern day, or what Barcelona were in like the mid-2010s, you really kind of have to pick one or the other to go after in a year, because no English team has won the double since United did it in '98. Like, it's a near impossible task. The only other team that's done it recently is, I believe Bayern did it mid-2010s, and that's only because that was when the German league was so weak that they didn't even have to, like, there was a crazy stat that year when they won the double. If Manuel Neuer, the German goalie who's the best in the world to date, I say, if he didn't play any games, they would still win the league. Like,
What's harder to win?
The Champions League than the German league. But the Premier League is, like, for Arsenal to win the Premier League, that would be as impressive as City winning the Champions League.
I get what you're saying. I do.
But isn't that a crazy stat, though, that if all the shots on goal against Bayern Munich that year went in, they would still win the league? Like, if their goalie didn't exist.
Here, my one thing is this, and to be fair, this is just personal preference in sports. I prefer the everything's on the line, win or go home games or matches in the case of soccer. And to me, they got to the final.
This is ridiculous.
They went undefeated.
No, it's not. They didn't get to the final. They won the Prem. Like,
no, and they got to the Champions League final. They got to the Champions League final. They went undefeated in the Prem.
The previous year.
And they came in second the following. So, like, this is a very, very good team.
It is a very, very good team.
Was the Premier League the best league in the world at that point?
It was the most competitive
league. So, battle-tested.
The 2 best teams were in Spain.
Okay. But they're battle-tested. And what did they lose by in the final?
It was 2-1.
2-1? They couldn't squeak across another goal? Oh, there was no score you could have given me there that I wouldn't have had something for.
I know.
So I'm with Andrew in terms of my preference leans towards.
That's fair, but that makes sense because that's how
American sports works.
Yeah, that's how American sports are raised. Oh,
I would also say,
whereas like a British fan would be like, well, anyone could just F their way into like a March Madness title or something like that, right? Like, they'd be like, hey, there's no proof of excellence from day one to date.
You can't have a wild card winner in the Premier League. Like, you have to be. It's like, closest thing would be like the NBA, where the best team, you have to be the best team for a sustained period of time, and you can't lose on a fluke or a bad day.
And that's the thing that made, like, when Leicester won it so special, was because they were able to be better than every team that year through 38 matches, which was insane. I will say, Arsenal should have won the Premier League that year, and we bottled it.
You've bottled like 2 Premier League finishes in the last decade?
1.
What about last year?
Okay, well, that was 4th and 5th.
Yeah, but there's a big difference between 4th and 5th.
Yeah, well, we've also lost 10-1 to Bayern Munich in the Champions League in the last decade, but no one talks about that either.
You want us to talk about
10-1?
It was technically 2 legs. It was 5-1. Or 10-2. It was 5-1, and then we lost the away game 5-1 as well. It was so sad.
Wait, you're telling me you lost the first game 5-1, and then you're heading into the second game knowing you need to put all the chips on the table and win by 4, and you lose by 4?
Do you remember the Wenger out movement when the Arsenal manager, when all the fans wanted him to leave?
No.
That's what prompted it.
So I have a question here. So if the Champions League is the best teams from all the leagues.
For all of Europe, yes.
Yes. So that is like the crowning achievement in professional soccer outside of World Cup, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, it's different for every team.
So, okay, I know it depends.
But like, hold on an even playing field, forget different for every team. The most impressive title you can hold is Champions League title, right?
Yes.
So organizationally, it's a little bit like teams in the middle of the pack in the NFL that for that team, that standard, a divisional round win and a conference championship berth is phenomenal. But for the Chiefs, that's a hell of a disappointment because they're expecting to win the Super Bowl.
Fair.
So, like, to win the Premier League is to say, okay, we don't have the resources or the ability to go out and compete with the elite teams around Europe. So we have to focus and we're going to basically punt on that and focus around winning our division and getting maybe a playoff win.
It's like Newcastle this year, for example. They're like the step below that. They're like, we're not good enough yet to compete for Premier League title, but we can throw all of our resources at like the FA Cup and win the domestic cup.
Okay. So organizationally, that's a lower tier.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So for Arsenal, that might be a big deal, but for soccer, that's not. Like you know what I'm saying in terms of like this is still making it sound like the Champions League is the Super Bowl. Like the elite of the elite of the elite go all in to win that tournament. And the teams that don't quite have the ceiling to get there are willing to forfeit that in pursuit of your division or your conference.
And the reason for that is, but it's
that's
not
a rough comparison. But you get the logic behind it.
Yeah, but it's so much easier to win your conference than it is to win your domestic league. Or to win your division.
Yeah, of course, because it's 4 teams. But you get what I'm saying.
I
right?
have trouble like the NFL and the Premier League and all of soccer is just structured so differently that I don't think it's worth making comparisons.
That's fair.
Okay.
I think I just nailed that comparison.
I think you did too. I was with you. I was with you.
Because anytime you're saying that, like, because you don't win anything if you win your division or if you win your conference.
You get the trophy for winning your conference.
Tatum got the Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophy too.
Here's the thing, real quick, and I want to end on this because we do need to wrap this up. It's almost worse that Arsenal got to the Champions League final and then lost because it showed they had the opportunity and the talent to win, and they didn't come through when it mattered.
Oh, we did come through.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
You did in the Premier League.
What have you done for me lately? It's always what it is.
How many Premier Leagues? You said like 10, right?
Arsenal's won a bunch.
Wait, so that shows that they're the type of organization that has the talent and potential to go win a Champions League. But they're not willing to put all the eggs in that basket to go win a Champions.
Because Stan Kroenke hasn't spent money until the last 2 years.
Sit on Premier Leagues and be like, oh, we won the Premier League.
No,
I don't want to hear stuff about ownership, Sam.
He finally started spending money, and now all of a sudden we're top of the Prem.
So all the years that they were winning Premier Leagues, if you're winning the Premier League, you should be good enough to win the Champions League. From my understanding.
That's
yes.
So they
Especially
haven't been
when
able
you
to
go
do
undefeated.
it. So they haven't been able to do it. So just acknowledge that.
Yes, but there were those.
But they've fallen short. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They've won a bunch of NFC championships.
I'm done.
think.
Seceding.
All right.
I'm done. This is stupid.
You
this
broke
is not worth my time.
We did it.
This
They
is
haven't
stupid.
gone through.
I hope Messi gets bounced in the first round in your bracket.
Wow. Whoa.
You don't hope that.
Come on. Don't
you
take
may
this
not
out on
like
Messi.
us, but you don't hope.
Don't take
you
that
don't
out
hope
on
that
Messi.
Fine.
Don't sacrifice your
All I'm
integrity.
hearing is Arsenal is
I want
the
Ronaldo to have a
Andy-
better World Cup than Messi has a World Cup.
All I'm hearing is Arsenal is the Andy Reid Philadelphia Eagles.
That was good.
That's a terrible analogy because he didn't win anything.
He went to the NFC Championship a bunch of times.
So stupid.
Like 5 times in a row.
This is so disrespectful.
And then whatever team actually
So
wins these things is Belichick
Listen,
and the Patriots.
Here's the thing, Sam. You got us for like 20 to 30 minutes of solid soccer talk.
Good
soccer talk that we were engaged for, and we didn't make fun of things.
I'm very great. You
and
what?
so we needed to come back around and then make fun of things.
I wasn't making fun. I was just trying to better understand your sport.
Thank you.
And the shortcomings of your team.
Exactly.
Maybe rub that in a little bit.
I'm very vocal about my disappointment in Arsenal.
Okay. Let's end it off there. Thank you guys so much for listening, for tuning in. Leave a like, subscribe, a review, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. And we'll be back soon enough. And if you want more soccer talk, Sam and King Jammer World Cup preview might even be in 2 parts, coming out around a week before the World Cup commences even. Thank you guys.